So like I said, my experience was a little bit different. Obviously, medical tourism is a whole thing on its own. I'll go through some of the pros and cons, right? I'm Melissa Forward. Welcome to Damsel of Success, where we talk about all things money. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every single Wednesday. I'll go through some of the pros and cons, right? So, on the pro side, I was able to have a surgery date within a month. I actually could have had it even sooner than that. If I'm pretty sure had I called them up and said I wanted to have surgery next week, that they would have been able to accommodate me, which is phenomenal because like that flexibility allows you to take action on a very big decision when you want to take it and not have to jump through all these hoops. Obviously that costs money, which we'll into in a little bit, but it was overall like very easy to get the surgery scheduled. Service that I went through to get the surgery done had amazing videos online where they toured the facility. They toured like how they went through like their sanitization process for all of their tools. They interviewed the doctors. They had all of this online content that I could learn about, what the process would look like before I did it, which I found so valuable. It was really great. I also got the recommendation for this particular service, and I'll link the service below in the comments in case you're interested in what I went through. But I got it from a friend of the family who had recently had a good experience with this particular service and with the doctors that I was going to visit. So that helped me feel a little bit more confident that somebody had gone to Mexico, had pretty serious surgery, and lived to tell the tale. That was a pro pro in my book. When I got there, like the facility was tremendously clean. The surgeons were well certified. They were certified in the United States and not just in Mexico, which I think is like, I don't know enough about the difference. And so I'm going to default to the country that I grew up in and say, like, oh, I want somebody who's certified to do this surgery here as well as in another country. That was another layer of security that I felt like I had going through the process. Like I said, I didn't have to go through any hoops. I was the one that determined I needed it, and I was able to schedule it, pretty much immediately. At the facility, the nurses were tremendous, like literally so attentive, probably double the staff of what you would experience in the United States. An extremely high level of care. The facility itself was, like I said, very clean, very modern. I would say it was like probably like the equivalent of the Beverly Hills section of the city that I had it done in. And like everything, it was just like this hospital that was like surrounded by crazy big mansions and stuff like that. It was just like when we drove in, I was like, wow, this is really bizarre. But anyway, the facility was really clean, really modern. I heard somebody else, the person that referred me to this service, said that it was kind of like going to a hospital in the United States that was just like maybe 5 to 10 years older than the newest hospital, right? And I think that was pretty accurate to my experience, where like you definitely find the same kind of hospital in the United States, like easily. Oh, another really great thing about the facility was that the rooms were individual, and they also had it set up so that your companion, whoever you brought with you, had a place to sleep in the room with you, like private bathroom, private room, really nice quality television, all the everything that you'd expect in the United States. It was there too, so that was really convenient. So on the kind of con side, just things that you can expect. Obviously, you're going to another country, so there's going to be a language barrier. Like obviously, if you're not, in the United States, you should not have an expectation that people are going to speak your language. Luckily for me, the surgeon was very fluent in English. The check-in staff was fluent in English. One of the nurses, at least, was really fluent in English. But not every nurse was. And so, if you decide to have surgery in Mexico, you should absolutely expect there to be a language barrier. One of the things that I kind of got a tip from another YouTuber was to download this app, this translation app, which was so great because I could literally just hand my phone to the nurse and have her type in her question, or I could type in my comment, and it would just translate it automatically to another language. And so we could understand each other, which was really cool because, I don't speak Spanish. And so that was going to be, that was an issue that I needed to address. But that app worked perfectly. The nurse was actually really delighted that, we had that communication tool. She said that she hadn't actually, had a patient that, was able to communicate with her in that way. So it was just kind of a cool experience. One other thing that was like kind of unique about the experience is that it was, I think there were like cultural differences that you don't always know about or expect. We're used to, at least I'm used to in the United States, being, having specific times, very clear communication about the schedule. And I think this is to me kind of funny now, but on my surgery day, by the way, I my sister was the person that I brought with me to be kind of my companion during the surgery. And so my sister and I were sitting there and we're like, I don't know what time my surgery is scheduled for. I have no idea. And they had done all of the pre, the blood work and set me up with an IV and all of that stuff the night before. But on the day of, the day came and I was like, I don't know what time my surgery is going to be. And so we asked, what time is what time is my surgery scheduled for? And the response was, when it's your turn. You're gonna go in when it's your turn. So that kind of made us giggle a little bit. We're like, okay, so it's a little bit more relaxed here. So that was just a funny thing that we experienced. And like I said, I think it's probably just a cultural difference. The only thing that I strongly disliked about the experience was that, so first of all, the surgery, the way that you kind of go in when you're doing it in Mexico is that you fly in, you cross they hire a transportation service to have you cross the border and go into the hospital, and then they do all your pre-checks and everything on the day that you arrive. You spend one night in the hospital before your surgery. You have the surgery on the next day, and then you spend that night in the hospital, under supervision, and then the next day you check out. They transport you across the border, and then you fly home. So on the day that we were scheduled to depart, the communication was just kind of poor about what time we were leaving and when we needed to be ready and where we needed to be waiting for our transportation. So that was not super great. And then the one experience that I just did not like at all was that for some reason, and I'm sure there's some legal reason about it, but they wanted us to walk across the border. So the driver stopped at this place where he pulled over. He had us leave the van with our suitcase, walk a couple of blocks, go through the immigration process on the Mexico-United States border, and then walk a couple of blocks to meet him on the other side. And you gotta kind of keep in mind, you are the day after surgery, you're exhausted, you're in a position where you haven't really eaten a lot, but you're not in a place where your body has fully, gone into ketosis yet, which is kind of when, things switch over and you don't feel hungry, even though, it's basically when your body starts living off of its fat stores rather than the food that you're feeding it. And when that happens, you don't really feel hungry. Well, that had not happened yet for me. It usually takes a few days for that to kick in. And so during that process of being post-surgery week, just exhausted, I needed to walk, a few blocks, toting my suitcase in extremely hot weather in order to cross the border. So that was not fun. It was certainly not dangerous in any way. It was fine. I made it through just fine. It was just tiring and inconvenient, to a high degree inconvenient. But I'm sure they had their reasons for doing that. I still don't quite understand what they are, but that was just part of the experience. But overall, I would say highly recommend it. It was like a VIP medical experience when it was all said and done, between the staff, the surgeon, the facility. It was all just very top notch, really, really great. So let's get into a little bit about the costs, comparing my sister's surgery with my surgery. All total, my sister Wendy's costs were around $2,580, and that included all of her pre-op and post-op co-pays for all of the visits. It included her needing to buy that CPAP machine. It included her surgery copay and a year of vitamins, which if you're familiar with bariatric surgery, you know that you need to be on supplements for the rest of your life because your ability to absorb vitamins is lessened after you have your surgery. So that included her first year of vitamins. So by comparison, hers, like I said, $2,580. My costs were $9,560. So by comparison, my costs were quite a bit higher. I paid $9,560 all total. And that included supplement and food samples prior to my surgery, transportation to and from the airport, airfare, a hotel room that I got for my sister that we ended up not needing to use because the room itself was fine. It included a year of vitamins for me, and it included my surgery fee. It included food that we needed to buy during the trip, my translation app, international phone charges, a couple of books that I used in replacement of the classes that my sister had taken. I picked up a couple books, and then it also included an annual checkup with my physician back in the United States that included some blood work to give me, results about like how I was absorbing vitamins. So yeah, that's a lot of money. I mean, like, let's not lie. Like that's nearly $10,000. And at the time it was almost everything I had in my emergency savings. And fun story, it's actually what inspired me to start with my goal of reaching financial independence, because I was so nervous about spending my emergency savings that I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I have to get real strict with myself about saving up another retirement savings as quickly as I possibly can, because like I live alone, I support myself, so there's not a backup for me if something bad were to happen with my job. And so I know I was taking this risk, and in balance to taking that risk, I was really committed to being able to amp up my emergency savings as quickly as possible. And when I was researching tactics about how to do that, I came across the FIRE movement, which stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. And I will get into that in a separate video, but it was just like completely opened my eyes to what I could be achieving with my finances. So it was just like a catalyst for me becoming a total personal finance geek. And I'm really thankful for that, for sure. So don't worry, we are getting there. We're getting to the favorite part of every video. And trust me, I loved this part of all the videos the most. The before and after pics, like how did it go?